Hey everyone, my name is Gavin, and this will be an intro tutorial to how to establish a connection through a network between two different Blender files. Now, my one on the right I have named Blender Server, and I have saved it to a folder called Server Clients. And I have on my left I have another Blender folder or file, and this one's called Blender Clients. So on this right one, this will be the server, and on the left one, this will be the clients. Now, we're not actually going to do anything like sending messages across. This will just be a simple establishment thing. So we're going to run our server, and then we're going to connect our client to our server just to make sure it works. Alright, I will get started with the server first, since that'll be the harder thing. And we're just going to get started. So let's go from defaults to game logic, and I'll actually drag this out over here really quick. Blender render, Blender game. And on our cube, what I'm going to do is add a sensor always, and add a controller that's a Python. Now we're going to create our script, and I'm just going to call the script server.py when I create it. Text, create text block, server.py, and add that right into our server right here, or into our Python controller right there. And inside of our template, or our text area, hit control and scroll up on your mouse to make your text larger. What we're going to do first is import the socket, since that's what we're going to need for our server, since it's going to need a socket. Then what we're going to do is define the host. This will be our host server, and we're just going to put 127.0.0.1. And for those of you that don't know this, this is actually just called the local machine or the local host. It's just the default number that's given to, like, your own computer. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to need to define a port. And a port is just an empty spot on your computer where there's like a network access, or just a number that it's essentially just a place where you can if we're running this server that we're going to create on a certain port, we can have our clients attached to that port, and then we can use that to connect to our server. So for my ports, I'm just going to do a number like, let's say 55, like this. And what we're going to do is now define our socket. So we're going to have sock is going to equal sockets.sockets, and this is going to be our socket that we've just created, sock. Actually, I'll call it S to make it simpler. And now what we're going to do is bind our sockets to our computer. So we're going to do s.bind. So we're going to bind the sockets to the host and at that port. So it's defined to our local machine, or it's binded to our local machine at port 55. And then what we're going to do is I am going to define a variable called looking is going to equal true. And the reason why we're going to do this is I'm going to have it so that once our client connects to our server, it's just going to close the server and the client as well. So we're going to have while looking is equal to true. So while looking is equal to true, what we're going to do, actually, one thing I forgot is we need to have s.listen. So we're going to be listening for one we're going to be listening for one object, or one client, essentially. So what's going to happen now, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, is we're going to print looking to the console. So if we're looking for a client and we haven't found one, we're just going to print that to the console. And if we do find a client, we're going to do c, comma, addr is going to equal s.accept, like this. So essentially accepting the clients. Then below this, what we're going to do is print client found, like this, and put a comma, and then put a string of addr, essentially saying when we find a client, we're going to put we're going to print client found, and it's going to print the client address. Alright, now that we have this, what we're going to do is have looking, once we have found the client, is going to equal false. Since we found the client, we no longer need to look. And then we're going to close the clients. Then we're going to have if looking is equal to false, we're going to break this while loop. So once we've broken the while loop, we're going to go out here, and we're going to close the server by doing s.close, because we're no longer needing to look for our clients. Alright, now that we have that, I'm going to hit File and Save. File and save like this. And I'm going to go over to my client's file. And let's go from defaults to game logic. Create a text block. And inside of this text block, what we're going to do is import sockets just like the other one. Below, we're also going to define the host. And you have to make sure the host and the port are the same for each one, because this is where this server is at. It's on the local machine at port 55. So we need to define the local machine 127.0.0.1. Then what we're going to do is put it at port 55 as well. Oops, port is going to equal 55. Then what we're going to do is define our socket, sorry. So we're going to do S is going to equal socket.socket like this. And then what we're going to do is do s.connect. We're going to connect to the host and at the same port. Okay. Now that we have this, we're going to do s.close. So, if we attach this script to our queue by doing add sensor always, add controller Python, I'm going to define this as, let's say, clients.py like this. And what we're going to do is I am going to drag this panel up right here, our Blender server, and I'm going to drag this up right here. And we're going to open up our terminal windows. I'll actually hit Control and scroll out so you can see that one. We're going to open up the terminal windows for each one. So toggle with system console, then window and toggle system console like this. And since the top one is our server, we're going to need this have to start that server first. So if I hit P, we can see our server is looking for our object, or for our client at least. So we're going to click on our client file, click in the game view and hit P. And oh, whoops. We didn't put our script in. Put your script inside the Python controller and hit P now. And you can see it connected to our clients because client found the local machine at that spot, and that's the address. And if we hit escape, we can hit escape on both. So alright, we have found that is how you connect a server to a client. So here is the server script just for one more second. I'll only have it up for a couple seconds, so alright. And I will be going over this in a few more videos. I'm actually kind of learning about networking myself. I'm kind of pretty much self-taught, so I've kind of had to learn everything on my own. So yeah, alright. Here's the socket. Here's the client scripts. Right there. There's the clients. Import the socket. Define the host. Create the socket, and then connect the sockets to the server. Okay, there you go, guys. I hope you guys found that very useful.